Thank you for dropping in. My name is Leilani Saez, and I'm a life coach with Natural Capacities Resilience Life Coaching. I'm going to share some information today to help you get clear about brain fog. Now, you may be wondering, what do string lights in a glass jar have to do with brain fog? Hopefully, by the end of this presentation, you'll see the connection. I want to tell you about Rochelle. Rochelle was an accomplished physical therapist, clever, and in great shape. At 49, though, she was perimenopausal, and her migraines were getting out of hand, becoming more frequent and incapacitating. So her doctor prescribed a new daily medication to help get them under control. At first, she didn't know why her thinking seemed to be slower, and her mind was having a harder time connecting the dots. She soon needed to take time off from work because she couldn't handle her regular duties. She forgot information, appointments slipped her mind, she struggled to recall words, she got easily confused. In addition, her body got tired easily, she couldn't concentrate, and she just didn't feel like her usual self. Of course, this made her worry about her ability to keep up, on top of already feeling embarrassed and frustrated by frequent mistakes that she felt were just stupid and not like her usual self. She felt like she was losing her mind. She couldn't get it together, no matter what she tried. Like so many brain fog sufferers, Rochelle felt mentally everywhere, completely scattered, and yet nowhere, just lost. Life felt unusually hazy and effortful, and it was hard to see her way out of it. Fortunately, she realized that her new medicine was causing the brain fog. So with the help of her doctor, she was gradually weaned off of it, and her brain fog lifted. But it took some time for Rochelle to really return back to her normal. So during the weeks of this brain fog uncertainty, her ability to work and see herself as fully capable, even at home, took a serious hit. She wasn't sure what was going on. She couldn't count on her brain to think like usual, and as a result, she wasn't functioning like usual. And the scariest part of it all was the not knowing. Not knowing why her brain seemed unexpectedly broken. Not knowing what would fix it. Not knowing how long it would last. She didn't know from day to day or sometimes within a day how much capacity she'd have to work with until the fog finally lifted and her mind became clear again. So I'm Leilani Saez, and I coach adults with brain fog, focus, and forgetting problems. I'm an educational psychologist, currently a research professor, and founder of Natural Capacities Life Coaching. For 20 years, I've been researching the ways in which working memory creates problems with remembering, paying attention, and connecting information when limited in capacity. And now, I help midlife adults solve their thinking problems using a sincerely supportive structure that produces insight, doable solutions, and long-term resilience. Now, I want to mention that when talking about the brain and its invisible capabilities, it can be easy to sort people into us, normal, and them, abnormal groups. So I want to point out that brain fog is an equal opportunity challenge. It can happen to any of us when the right circumstances are present. Just like what happened with Rochelle, any one of us can have our world turned upside down by it. Now, there are a variety of things you can do to improve or eliminate brain fog, but first, you have to recognize that it's happening. In this short presentation, I'm going to describe what brain fog is, as well as list common symptoms to help clarify it further. I'm also going to outline 3 main causes to help you sort through the variety of conditions that can create brain fog. This is important because different underlying causes require different solutions for improving or eliminating brain fog. So this is a crucial starting point, understanding why brain fog has rolled in. Finally, I want to share 3 next steps to take when brain fog is suspected to be an issue. So, our brain's primary duty is to receive and transmit electrical and chemical signals, both within its intricately folded layers and throughout the body. What we do and think can be observed in patterns of signaling activity across the nervous system. What you see in the middle of the screen is a neuron. Each of the lit areas represents an electrical signal being sent or received. The brain has 86 billion neurons, and this system of between neuron communication is used throughout the body. So for example, motor neurons transmit signals from the brain to your muscles and vice versa to help you move. The complicated process by which neurons signal is beyond this talk. But what's important to understand is how necessary signaling is for everything that we do. In many ways, our brains are like string lights in glass jars that are synchronized to perform complex functions. Our skulls are like jars, hard but fragile containers for a lot of electrical signaling designed to serve a specific purpose. Each differently colored strand of lights would represent a different circuit or pathway for sending signals to enable us to engage in different patterns of behavior, emotion, or thought. Unlike in this picture though, all lights contained in a strand or a circuit aren't perpetually on. It's more like they turn on when a signal is received and off after it's sent. So if you were to look at it, it would look a little bit more like the lights were blinking as they moved along the circuit. How well the signaling is coordinated determines how efficient our brain is functioning, and this affects how well we can focus and remember. So when a person has brain fog, there's inflamed conditions, systemic inflammation that's going on, that's disrupting how signaling is coordinated. So one's usual cognitive functioning becomes impaired and glitchy, out of sync. It would be as if some of the strands used for signaling were working more slowly than usual, and others were delayed, which would interrupt kind of the smooth transmission and flow of signals. I want to mention that brain fog is not a sign of aging. Although certain aging processes resemble it, brain fog is transient, meaning that it rolls in and out of one's life depending on the level of inflammation that's wreaking havoc in the body. So for some people, brain fog lasts weeks. For others, it disrupts their lives for months, and for others, years. It's not a sign of progressively declining cognitive functioning like dementia, but the distinctions between typical aging, dementia, and brain fog require that a thorough evaluation be conducted by a medical doctor to really know what's going on. When we talk about brain fog, we're talking about 3 primary cognitive problems that can create secondary physical ailments. First, everyday thinking becomes suddenly compromised. It's slower, you may feel dim, and foggy brains get easily confused. Things that are typically known can temporarily become unknown. It can also make name recall challenging. You may know the word you want to say, but can't seem to retrieve it. You may even describe all around it, but the exact word just won't come to mind. The second problem that often happens with brain fog involves working memory. Working memory is what we use to hold information in mind while doing or thinking about something else at the same time. So when it stops functioning properly, you can forget why you entered a room, where you parked your car, or whether you even locked the front door. You may suddenly become unable to multitask or do complex things like plan, coordinate dates and times, or even follow a recipe while cooking. The third problem involves attention. Not only are you more easily distracted, but it may become harder to sustain your concentration over time. So tasks like reading or driving can become less enjoyable. You may find conversations hard to stay focused on, even when they're about important topics, because your brain just can get so worn out. Because these fundamental cognitive processes are more taxing than usual, attempts to keep up with typical life produce secondary ailments like headaches, fatigue, and muscle tension. As you can imagine, energy and stamina fall short too. Extra energy gets expended without better results because thinking, remembering, and attention capabilities are so underpowered with all the glitching that's going on. It truly is a mind-body phenomenon that, when persistent, is also deflating to one's spirit and vitality. Brain fog widely ranges in its severity. Some people can eliminate their brain fog while others have to work hard just to improve it a bit, and others have to live with it, making this complex condition difficult to manage and understand. A lot is still unknown about brain fog, but what is clear is that healthy brains are less vulnerable to brain fog rolling in when inflammation is present in the body. A variety of things can cause brain fog, so I've organized them here based on their primary inflammation source to keep it simple. There's lifestyle choices, chronic medical conditions and their treatments, and hormone imbalances. As you can imagine, lifestyle causes are the easiest to resolve. We can control our brain health hygiene in how we eat, manage stress, sleep, and drink. These cases of brain fog tend to be milder. Chronic medical conditions such as autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis, celiac, diabetes, these conditions place us at higher risk for having inflammation that can quickly overwhelm the body. The underlying mechanisms in each can perpetuate low levels of inflammation that are like embers in a campfire, ready to spark and ignite into high degrees of inflammation that then produce brain fog. Recent studies on COVID-19 are also showing just how the effects of a virus can create inflammation that leads to brain fog. And we've long known that chemotherapy and certain medications have brain fog as a side effect. I want to also point out that sleep apnea is actually a tricky brain fog cause to diagnose because not everyone shows dramatic signs of restricted airflow while sleeping or has a sleeping partner who might notice the signs of sleep apnea. But not getting a proper brain cleansing each night while you sleep can create inflaming plaque buildup that can clutter brain pathways. Now, regarding hormones as a brain fog cause, the research is really underdeveloped when it comes to women's health and understanding why and how spiking hormonal shifts create inflammation. Shifts in estrogen's protective influence on memory, though, is believed to play a vital part in some of the cognitive issues experienced. The brain itself doesn't have to be inflamed to have brain fog, right? The problem is systemic inflammation that short circuits brain functioning. So identifying the underlying cause of brain fog is crucial for knowing how to best address it. Otherwise, you can try a million different things to alleviate the symptoms, yet still miss the target. So if you or a loved one suspects brain fog, here are 3 simple and helpful steps to take. 1. Track the symptoms as specifically as possible. Write down what seems to be happening, the frequency that it occurs, and how long the foggy conditions last. Also, note anything that happens before a brain fog episode, like what was eaten, was it a few hours after taking a medication? Collecting all of this information over time can really help to identify important patterns. Number 2, work with a doctor to determine an appropriate course of action. Further evaluation may be needed, a change in treatment might be helpful. Keep in mind, though, that the concept of brain fog could be new to your doctor, so that's where doing number 1 first is critical if you want to have a focused conversation. Step 3, consider making some brain healthy lifestyle changes to how you eat, sleep, drink, and exercise to see if that can alleviate the brain fog symptoms. Be sure to take note on what you tried, for how long, and the impact it had. In another presentation, I delve deeper into specific changes that you can try. So, thank you for your attention. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about brain fog. I would be happy to talk with you about specific concerns that you may have with no cost or obligation. So you can find me at www.naturalcapacities.com or on social media. Take good care.